Israel has long been referred to as the startup nation and Silicon Valley, but how long can it continue to ride on those tributes? According to some participants at the annual General Assembly Conference of the Jewish Federations of North America, it's time for Israel to upgrade. Joining us now from New York City is Tal Keinan, CEO and co-founder of investment management firm Clarity Capital. Mr. Keinan.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. You spoke to leading members of the American Jewish community at the General Assembly about the Startup Nation Chapter 2. What do you mean by Chapter 2, and what was your message to these American leaders?
Well, first of all, the people I was talking to were some of the decision makers at the foundation endowment level. So there's over $80 billion today in Jewish Federation endowments across North America. And we are sponsors of an organization called the Investment Institute, which essentially tries to integrate best investment practices across those endowments. So if you think about it, if those $80 billion in endowment funds are underperforming as investment assets, let's say by 200 or 300 basis points, that can translate to $2.5 billion a year in what really should be looked at as lost funds that cannot go to causes like the causes that I spoke about at my talk yesterday. And the talk was really about that. I mean, it was not an investment management talk, but more, we've come a long way in Israel. The whole startup nation theme is exciting. I think it's one of the most exciting things going on in Israeli society, never mind the Israeli economy, but it's not enough. High technology in Israel employs about 10% of the labor force. We've got to look at the other 90% and make sure that they are adequately engaged and employed, and be producing at a level that is commensurate with our legacy.
Right. Okay. I mean, 10% of the workforce, but way more than that in terms of actual output, right? What specific areas need improvement to reach this vision?
Well, I think there's two main sectors that we should be focusing on. One is in education. I don't think our curriculum today, look, there are a lot of issues with the education system. I spoke specifically about curriculum. Our curriculum is not preparing students for a 21st century post-globalization world. So by and large, we're not coming out of the system equipped to contend with the world as it has evolved. And I think core to that is the English language, is that we need full fluency in the English language in order to contend. The English language is the first global lingua franca in the history of humanity. And our kids are not fully equipped. They're on average conversant in English. They are not fluent in English. And if you compare us to other countries, so we spent a little time on the Polish education system, which is really skyrocketing, while ours is actually in decline. You see that other countries are putting that emphasis on the English language, and I think it's something we need.
Okay.
That's on the education side. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I mean, I think we're going to have to cut it short because the sound is somewhat problematic. Tal Keinan, thank you very much for joining us from New York City.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us.